The path of Tav submits between Malkut and Yesod on the tree. Tav literally means in Hebrew, cross. Here the soul finds itself in the center of the cross between the four divisions of the worlds that gather in Malkut. As Malkut is the sphere of the elements in action, and Yesod is the creative foundations and reflective perceptions, Tav is the submission to and mixing of the elements to begat the conscious sensual experience. The activated sensual earth, Malkut, and the creative subconscious moon, Yesod, combine in Tav as the sensitive imagination which creates the dream of the world. It is the guiding sense through our conscious perceptions and interactions, through our body and into the earth-bound realm. It is indeed our immersion into the world and the many worlds within worlds. Hence the tarot card of Tav is the world. It signifies the world at your feet, the opening up of a new world, or the fertile sensation of the world opening to you as a result of completed tasks. Tav is our sensitive perception of the world. Tav is our world and how we not only center ourselves within it, but how we watch, listen and learn from all the motions and activities in the environment around us. It is the way we are seated within our actions that creates the world that we know. We may act from a clear, calm, sentient place within, or we may be scattered in our creative efforts, unfocused and distracted. We may pollute the world or enrich it, and the world must be fertile for growth to occur through it. Thus we must tread sensitively upon Gaia with the utmost respect. We must honor her elements that we may receive medicine from them. The world, our world, the only world that we know, is what we make it to be. Its unfolding is in our making. Its elements and the elements within the soul, when combined, are the clay and substance from which we sculpt ourselves through our actions and therefore sculpt the world around us. The tarot often portrays the separate faces of the cherubim as the four cardinal angels, Uriel, Michael, Raphael and Gabriel, or as the four cardinal beasts, the lion, the man, the eagle and the bull looking down upon the world. Thus all four worlds of the Kabbalah are present in our experience of the layers of the world, Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, signified by the name of God, Yod He Vav He, as the conscious experience. Tav is the central point of these four elements through which we perceive, receive, and act into the world. Tav is called the Great One of the Night of Time. The Sefer Yetzirah describes it as the worshipped consciousness, Sechel Ne'evad. The 32nd path is called the administrative intelligence, and is so called because it directs and associates the motion of the 7 planets, directing all of them in their proper courses. The mode of exalting God's divine essence in all things upon the cosmic stage is called worship. Tav is the consciousness of worship. The original meaning of worship was closer to work. Thus, to worship is to work things out, to work for the gods, to work towards oneness, to work to attune one's soul to the divine in all, rather than to be scattered and listless. To work towards God is to work towards peace, peace with all things and all creative processes. Tav, set at the end of creation where God manifests physically and is beheld and worshipped, is where humanity begins its journey through tikkunim. Through worship, Chokmah and Binah are revealed in all things. In the events and actions of our life, our souls emerge to develop wisdom and understanding. Tav is the consciousness that senses and learns to perceive and interact with the divine in the world. At the completion of God's creation, God saw all that He had done was good and placed humanity there to appreciate it. Here, Adam, humanity, was given knowledge to live by, in gardens and with agriculture. He is surrounded by living animals and spreads out across the earth. It is the Lord of earth, Adonai, who taught Adam to attune to the divine in all things around him, acknowledging their placement by naming them. Altars and monuments were set up to admonish the divine in a place, and the Lord's presence is felt as the mother goddess and female presence of God on earth, the Shekhinah. Because Tav is the ending letter through which manifestation occurs, it sets all things in their rightful place. All things are given their destiny, their placement, and their relationships to each other. Tav is then called the administrative intelligence. It directs the motions of the planets and their associations with each other. Each thing is given its orbit and its destiny. One could say that the pattern in which things have formed and manifest upon the earth is partly due to the subtle gravity, radiation, and influence of the planets that exist in relation to the earth. Indeed, the planets are also responsible through Tav to administrate the Sephirot into our own bodies' systems. The glands of the body are said to have evolved as receptive organs in a direct relationship to planetary influence. And so the planets are received and perceived as endocrinal influences within our own bodies, as feelings that may subtly alter our perspective and therefore our actions. Collectively, this can have great consequences, as the subtle yet permeating zodiac and planetary forces with their combined relationships affect our very feelings, which sublimate our actions individually and collectively. They therefore validate astrological influence upon history. Tav is the seat upon which all things sit and from where they act to influence. Tav is the power that gives everything its rightful place from where to create into the world from its own unique perspective. Tav is the planet Saturn. As a submissive path of Saturn, it is associated with the female essence of Saturn, Saturna, or the consort of Kronos, Rhea. Rhea, whose name means flow, or to ground oneself in the earth, was the daughter of Gaia, Malkut, and Uranos, associated with Chokmah. She was called Mother of the Gods and gave birth to the 5 eldest Olympian gods, Hestia, Hera, Demeter, Poseidon, and Zeus, and also Hades, god of the underworld. Her cults employed rhythmic, raucous chants and dances to provoke a state of religious ecstasy. If Kronos was the god of time associated with Binah, then Rhea was the goddess of timeless flow in Tav, associated with being absorbed religiously into creation. By worshipping her, we open our sense perception through the world into the subliminal realm of the deathless gods who are endless, and the spirits beneath, beholding them all in their places and motions. She is ever the Parzuf of the timeless earth, and through worshipping her, we learn to worship more so with our whole being. The Saturnalia was a Roman festival in which the goddess was worshipped, where all slaves were given gifts. In Roman times, it was associated with the winter solstice, which later was reinstated to become Christmas. Saturna, Rhea, is associated with the joy of life, with giving and receiving, with exchange, with the end of the darkening and the welcoming of the coming new light. Saturna may be equated with other goddesses such as Lakshmi, Hathor, and other fertility deities and their festivities. Tav as submissive Saturn is one's consciousness seated upon the earth. Like an audience at a performance, relaxed and openly receptive and perceptive to enjoy the show. Submissive Saturn is the receptive sensual mode where, as the objective path of Saturn, which is Binah, is the understanding that comes from meditation upon the story in the play of life. Saturn in Bina, at the depth of the neshama, contemplates what is perceived, silences the mind, and develops an understanding and cognitive sentience from one's actions within life. Lower Saturn, associated with the final He in the Tetragrammaton, takes in the light of the earth, perceives and worships through it. Saturn, Tav, rules the buttocks, our seat upon which we rest and take respite, and through which we may cultivate our sensuality and invite the Kundalini to rise. It is from here that we begin the ascent upon the astral planes. As the Hebrew letters are the knowledge contained in the serpent on the tree of knowing, Tav is the serpent's tail. Thus it is by being seated on the throne of Saturn that one begins worship, by emptying the mind and opening one's perceptive faculties, allowing oneself to become sensitive to the goings on around the body and within the soul in a joyful manner. It is the tail end of creation through which we begin our rising towards Ein Sof at the source. And on the seventh day of creation, Elohim did rest. This state of rest became the Sabbath, and on the Sabbath the believers were called to worship, to be sensitive to the light of God in Torah, to contemplate life's events and one's actions and reflect upon them. In this relaxing yet festive state, the four divisions of the elemental world swirl together in a kaleidoscope of sensual stimulus. In the center of these motions of the planets and elements, signified by the cross, our soul may sit focused. Here the foundations of our ascent to God are fixed to our world, our place upon the earth in Malkut. Here we begin to rise by settling down, relaxed, joyful, playful, drawing our consciousness away from the distractions and actions of the outside world by looking within. The great Creator sits in the center of creation and beholds all that he has done as good.